Hello, everybody. We're here for another lockdown lesson, and I've had some amazing guests on the last few days, and today is equally, if not more amazing. It's the lovely Jen Braithwaite. Hi,
Hi,
Jen.
hi, hi, Sam. Hi, everyone.
Where are you coming to us live from, Jen? Where are you?
I'm coming to you live from my living room in Troutbeck Bridge, just
Ah,
outside of Windermere. Yeah,
actually, love that. Love that village.
yeah, it is. It's a really, really lovely, nice community that we live in here. Nice away from all the hustles and bustles and
Yeah.
stress. Yeah.
And you a local girl?
No, I've been here about 20 years. My husband's a local lad. I went to college in Ambleside. I got my teaching degree here about nearly 20 years ago. So,
What
and since,
amazing. When that was there.
yes,
Lucky girl. That's got
yes,
to be one of the most prestigious teaching colleges in the whole world, I think.
yeah, it's great. Loved being at Charlotte Mason or St Martin's College when I was there. It's a beautiful place to study and to be a part of the community. So yes.
And then you just didn't go home.
No,
You-
never went home. No, I'm a Leeds class originally, and I just never went back. Love it here.
So you used to work for a very well-known local company, didn't you? What was that?
So I used to work for Impact International, one of the top 20 leadership development companies, global organisation, and worked there for nearly 10 years. Absolutely loved my time there, but decided a few months ago to go on my own, to start working with some different kinds of organisations, some charities and schools as well, and give it a go and see how that works for me to work by myself and with some other brilliant independent consultants as well.
So obviously that's a double-edged sword right now, because you could have been furloughed, which I'm sure would have had you pulling your hair out to know what an active lady you are. But instead you are working for yourself, so you haven't furloughed yourself, I'm guessing. You are probably staying active. What are you doing during this downtime?
So that's a really good question. I could have been furloughed and worked, when I was working for them, and I know that some people are and some people aren't, and they're trying their best to keep going and work in a different virtual way. But here I am keeping active, keeping posting every day, blogging, and I'm around to help, and I've offered my services around to local businesses to say if anybody wants some coaching conversations or needs a sounding board, needs some help through this difficult time, then I'm around and very happy to help. And I have a very active, nearly 7-year-old daughter. So we're also trying to homeschool / keep entertained, not go completely bonkers in the house.
Gosh, yeah. Well, I take my hat off here. I've said this every day to anybody that's come on that's homeschooling. I think you're all amazing, and I'm still working full time. The thought of trying to do that with a child around fills me with dread. I'm not going to lie. So well done, all of you.
Yes.
So your specialism, if you like, is communication, isn't it? Because communication is at the heart, really, as we know, of every successful business. What kind of communication do you sort of coach and train on?
So the heart of all communication for me is around relationships with other people. So it's about respect for others and listening and taking time to actually make sure that we understand what each other are talking about, shared empathy, sharing things that are going on with each other, and generally building up those communication and listening skills to be able to work effectively, whether you're working on your own or you're part of a team, to keep the productivity going, to keep us all working effectively and having respect for each other.
So if a company doesn't communicate well, what are the first kind of signs that you see? Let's just take a small shop, for example, with 3 or 4 staff members. What would you see when communication isn't going well?
You'd tend to see and hear a lot of silence. It's a lot of it then is conveyed through body language. People are more hunched over and looking at each other. There's no eye contact. there's no smiling, there's, you know, a lot of rolling of eyes, and generally keeping yourself to yourself, or two people having a little bit of a bicker over here, or two people having a conversation about somebody else, and they're just not communicating effectively with each other. There's no lines, there's no shared empathy, there's no getting on, and it can be quite an unpleasant atmosphere when that happens.
I think they do say, don't they, that people tend to, when they leave a job, they're not really leaving the job, they're leaving their environment, which could be a boss, you know, communicating poorly. It could be the other team members they just can't get on with. And actually the basis of all that is communication, isn't it? So you have got for us, because obviously communicating during this crisis, during the COVID crisis, is like nothing we've ever seen in our lifetimes. We may not, hopefully, ever see it again. And it is actually forcing us to communicate in a different way. And that has never been more evident than my day today. So I started off with, you know, a little live on my profile, which I would never do normally. And then I went into a Zoom meeting with our whole team, and then went to a second Zoom meeting with a partial team. And now I'm on Facebook Live with you, interviewing you. So my morning has completely changed from what it would have been just 2 weeks ago. And you're seeing this, I'm sure, again and again, aren't you, with companies?
Yes, absolutely. Things are completely different. They're totally different than any way we've seen before, and we're having to adapt so quickly. And I think a lot of us are struggling to keep up with the change and to figure things out and figure out the technology. In a way, your day is very different, but also it could be exactly the same as it was before, but in a virtual way. So you would walk into your office in the morning, you would have a conversation like you're doing on your live, you'd have a chat, you'd make a brew, you'd have those conversations with people, then you'd have a team meeting. The difference being now is we're using these virtual platforms rather than a face-to-face sitting in a room together. And, you know, it can be hard enough to communicate when you're all in the same room, when you're all together, you know, reading the body language, making sure that we all understand each other, having those little bits of light conversation that help us all to get on even better. You know, and then you would go into another meeting that was probably one-on-one, or a couple of you all in there together, 3 or 4, smaller, different partial team. And then you might go and have another chat or another whatever. So it's the same. And I think we need to keep remembering that. For me, it's the same, but it's different. So
So it's actually just the medium that's different, isn't it? The actual, the actual communication is the same. And I think, I don't know about you, but I've never had as many phone calls and FaceTimes and Zoom meetings that I have the last week. But it's funny because you were already working from home, weren't you? But I think people are reaching out, you know, for a visual communication far more than we have done before. Would you agree?
Absolutely, I agree. I think we're missing out on those little conversations that we'd have, those seeing each other's faces. You know, for me, not seeing mums at the school gate in the morning and having that 5 minutes of conversation with those ladies and gents there takes its toll. Not being able to, you know, pop and see your mum or your dad or your friend round the corner or any of those. I think we're really struggling to have that kind of face-to-face contact. So by doing it through other mediums, like all the different technologies, is really good for us.
Yeah, and I think it plugs that hole for now, doesn't it? It's not, you know, I want to hug my grandchildren, but if I can't hug them, at least I can see them on FaceTime. Yeah. So we've got 5 tips for those people who feel like they're going a little bit stir crazy with lack of communication, and also people who are maybe struggling with structuring their day, struggling with actually getting the work done. And obviously you've been working from home for quite a while now. I've worked from home before in the past, and now normally work from an office with people in it, which has its own, you know, pluses and minuses. But I'm sure you had to adapt a lot, didn't you? So should we, Amy and Victoria were both saying hello, by the way, Amy Thompson and Victoria. So should we dive into the 5 tips, and then let's give people some practical actions that they can take at this time?
Okie dokie. Yeah, that sounds great. So tip 1 is about getting straight to work in a morning. So as you've said, I've had to adapt over the last few months from working in a busy global office to working on my own. So it's about getting straight to it. Get a drink, find a quiet place, whether you're lucky enough to have a home office, exactly, nice herdy mug. Find somewhere and start at 9 o'clock, like you would your normal day. If that's your normal day, start at the time that you would always start. Don't put the telly on. That is the worst thing you can do. If you need a bit of background noise, put the radio on, put your Spotify playlist on, whatever it is that you need a bit of something going on in the background, totally, but not something that's going to distract you. If you need to do a couple of little jobs before you get started, put that load of washing on. It's not the time for the big jobs. Don't start cleaning your bathroom, reorganizing your cupboard, any of that stuff. You won't get going. And because routine is the key. We can't keep other people waiting. You wouldn't do it in the office. So don't do it when you're working from home. It's the first step in effective communication, I think, is about respect. So it's about respect for other people, and it's about that respect back to you again. So if you wouldn't do it in your normal routine, it's not the time to start that now. Keep on track and keep focused and be ready to rock.
So we're saying, really, aren't we? Actually, it is business as usual, especially if you run your own business and now from home. If it's down to you for the pennies to keep coming in, or to set up a plan for the pennies to come in down the line, then you've got to start you've got to carry on being professional and doing everything you would normally do. So at work, you wouldn't start, hopefully madly cleaning if you knew there was important jobs to do, like cash flow forecast. So don't do it at home. That's what we're saying, isn't it?
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay, great.
Yeah. So my second tip is, it's all about the huddle for me. It's something that a lot of us do when we're in a group setting. If we're working in an office, it's something that I used to be part of every morning, and I found it was something that was really helpful. And that kind of remote huddle, it replicates that kind of community. It replicates having that sort of contact with people and finding out what's going on and sharing any issues that you've got, finding any help that you might need, or being able to offer that to other people as well. That's a nice thing to do first thing in the morning. So you're getting that contact with other people, you're having those initial conversations. And my tips for that are really keep it business focused at first. So everybody say hello, take it in turns, don't interrupt each other, make sure that you're actively listening and engaging with what other people are saying to you. Share what's going on. If you're having a tough time or you've got something going on and you don't know how to solve that issue, put it out there. That we need to be more honest with things like that, and not just go, I'm fine. Because if you're not, and you need some support, especially at the moment when you're feeling isolated, then now is the time to ask for it. And also be open to sharing any spare time you might have during your day to support other people as well, and give them a lift with something that they might need. And then once you've kind of done that round robin of whoever's in the room and talked about your day, then have 5 minutes worth of chat. Share what's going on with yourself. Share what's happened the night before, whoever's driving you crazy, if you're lonely, if you haven't got out and you just need to get out of the house, then share it with other people. It helps us feel less isolated. It helps other people go, it's not just me. It's not just me. We're all in the same boat right now.
And the funny thing is, our team, we've got 7 or 8 in our team, and they've all been furloughed, and they have all asked for a twice weekly meeting by Zoom. So, at the moment, it's just personal stuff that we're sharing. Who's been for a run, who can't move today, who's going to go for a bike ride, somebody wants a puppy. It's all that kind of stuff. And it's just getting it off their chest, because they may only be communicating with the people in their immediate family who they're about to stab. So, now is the time to kind of get it off the chest and remind them that they do have a position in this world and a purpose that is professional. It's outside this this home life that's going on. So I think that's a really good one. I love the idea of a huddle. I feel like I want to make it a physical huddle, but if you can't make it a physical huddle, a Zoom huddle will also do.
Zoom huddle works really, really nicely.
That's somebody telling you, Jen, do you know you're on live?
Yeah, quite possibly. I'm just going to put my phone on silent because I didn't actually think anybody would be ringing me. Oops.
Number 3. Hello, Helen. Hello, Emma.
Oh, lovely. Or 11s when we'd have that kind of cup of tea break.
That's
then
nice.
lunch breaks, joint lunch breaks.
Oh, yeah. That's a nice idea.
Because if you are working in an office environment, you tend to go and share that lunch break with somebody else as a general rule. So do that in a virtual way. Sit and eat your lunch, have a chat about things, and it doesn't have to be work related. But if something's cropped up in the morning, you think, I need to talk to somebody about this, do it then. Or 3sies. You know, that was something that we love to do in the office when we were all together, is just have and a cup of, and 5 minutes away from your screen, have a chat. Work related, great, but otherwise just have 5 minutes. It's really, really helpful for yourself and for other people to just have that little break and have a chat with somebody. If you've been focused on your laptop for hours, you know, whether you're prospecting at the moment like a lot of us are, or you're having virtual meetings with people that you don't necessarily know very well, and you just want to have that bit of engagement, it's a really nice thing to do.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so that's huddle. Number 3.
Number 3 is about
be a little bit quicker because we've got such a lot to say, haven't we?
I will try and speed it up a little bit. So it's about seeing people's faces.
Yeah.
We've talked about how important that is and how we're really craving that at the moment. And I find that seeing other people's faces is really helpful. We've all had those emails, those messages. You don't like the tone. You've got the wrong end of the stick. You've sent it to somebody else. They don't like your tone. They've got the wrong end of the stick. It seems rude. You get really annoyed about it. And when we're, you know, and most of the time it's unintentional, isn't it? Most of the time it's a complete misinterpretation. It's not meant in the way that it's come across. And when we're around other people, we can get perspective on that. But when you're sat on your own and it's just festering and going round, it can build up. It turns a mountain into a molehill. You then return that tone. It just carries on this cycle of rubbish communication.
So are we saying that when we see somebody's face, that helps you read them better and see whether they are being a little bit sarcastic or annoyed or just funny? You know, they think they're being funny and you're just, you know, they're being a bit blunt. We were talking about this morning because one of our clients had sent an email that one of my members of staff thought was a bit rude. I said, but she said, on the phone, he's lovely. I said, well, maybe he's just not good at written emails. Maybe he's just not good at getting his point across. So I think that's important. Faces, brilliant. Let's go to Paul.
So nip it in the bud. Call people up, have a conversation about it. Say, have I read this wrong? Am I not sure? Call it out. Nip it in the bud. Keep engaged. Talk, listen to each other. And then it will just iron itself out. And if there is an issue, then have that difficult conversation. But it's a lot easier to have that difficult conversation face to face rather than madly firing stuff at each other.
Totally agree. Okay, number 4 and 5.
Number 4 is about keeping it normal. So if you work 9 to 5 and they're your hours, keep them. So when you're working from home, you feel like you should do more because you have to prove that you're doing what you say you're doing and all of these things. And early and late communications provoke a need for an immediate response. I'm not talking about emergencies. Emergencies are different. We all have them. But if it can wait, then it should wait. You know, you're expecting a response by sending something at those times. It causes stress. It can cause anger. It can show the other person can feel like it's a lack of respect for their time. And then that breaks down the communication again. So as much as you can keep to those normal hours, then you really, really should at the moment and keep it within that working day. Yeah. We all need a break from it at the moment.
some of us as well. I mean, my phone from the office has been diverted to my mobile, so people are expecting me to be around 9 till 5-ish. You know, a phone call from Hong Kong, it's 6:30 his time. You waited for my time this morning. So it's about being respectful of each other, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Our last tip.
And the last tip is all about self-care. So if you're sitting all day at your computer and you're not taking breaks and you're not taking any time, then you're not doing yourself any favors whatsoever. So going to and from the office, those commutes are really good for us to help us process if we're going into work, what we've got coming. And if we're going home, then it just gives us that chance to kind of just calm, debrief, process what's going on, and to be able to manage our time better. And if we can manage better, then we're communicating better with other people. If you don't allow yourself that time, you get stressed, you get anxious, and you're not very nice to be around. And that has a real effect on the people that you're working with or talking to. If you're not actually being a very nice person and you're really stressed and anxious, then people don't want to engage with you. They just think, oh, here we go. That's not helpful. That's not helpful for you, and it's definitely not helpful for whoever you're with at the other end. So take a break, read a book, go for your walk, do whatever it is that you want to do for 10 minutes. Keep taking those breaks, because if you don't, then it's going to not be great for you, and it doesn't enable respectful communications. If you feel good, you're going to treat other people better.
Yeah, totally agree. They're brilliant. Thank you very much. So we've got Get Straight to Work, Huddle, Faces, facial communication, be as normal as you can be, and self-care, put your oxygen mask on first. Now, they're great tips. Thank you, Jen. You've got a really kind offer, haven't you, for people who have got no pennies at this time. So this is a free offer. What would you like to offer?
Free offer. If anybody needs a chat, isn't feeling great, wants to talk through anything, business related or not, I am here. I am a great listener, and you can use me as a sounding board through anything that you're thinking about or you are struggling with at the moment. Please just drop me a message. I'm available 9 to 5 every day, and I'm really happy to have any kind of conversation you want on the phone or virtually. I'm here, and I'm really happy to help if I can at the moment.
You know, there's some amazing professionals out there, you included, who really, I know, want to help, genuinely want to help. This is nothing to do with anything commercial right now. It's just you reaching out to your community saying, how can I help you? And I would urge all of those of you who are listening, please take advantage. Jen may never be able to offer a free coaching call again. She's in demand, she charges a lot, you know, and she's worth every penny, but right time for free. So please take advantage of it.
Really, really happy to help anybody that needs it at the moment. So please don't hesitate.
That's really kind. Thank you so much, Jen. You've been really, really generous with your time. Really appreciate it, and some fantastic tips there. I've actually thought of some things that I'd like to do because of what you've just said. So really helps me too. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Sam. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.